Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Jackie and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. It's episode 333. I feel like that's like halfway to something ominous. Right?
I know. Yeah, I know. But you know what? It took us a while to get here, so we're good. We'll worry about that when it comes.
We're good for a little while.
Yeah.
Cut to us like 13 years from now. Welcome to Movie Film. Like, oh, geez,
Yeah.
we got there so slowly. We didn't realize.
Yeah, or I was picturing like a big hellish portal opening next to us, and we're like hanging on to our desks.
So what did you think of the new Mission Impossible?
Yeah. It's down the road, you said. Worry about it later, you said.
As you like hit me with your beanie. Hey, it is New Year's Eve as we are recording this.
Yeah.
The year was getting away. We thought, you know what, we got more to give. We got one more turd to squeeze out. In the year of our Lord 2025.
Yeah. Have you ever used that? Wait, sorry. Have you ever used that as an expression before?
One more turd to squeeze out?
Yeah, when you were referring to anything, like you've got one last quiz to hand out or something to your students. Or like, have you ever said that before? One last turd to squeeze out?
Certainly not in my class, but very possibly on this show. I don't know. I don't know what I say here.
That was just, it's so kind of perfect and funny. And like, I don't think I've ever heard you say that. And I'm like, did you just make that up? Like, I had to get to the root of it.
I don't think I made it up. I don't think I'm clever enough.
Okay, well, I love it. That
I'm sure there's people with quite a bit more legerdemain when it comes to poop metaphors than I. I study at the feet of the masters.
I raise my coffee mug to them right now.
That's right. So how have you been? How has this is sort of that interregnum, the post Christmas, pre New Year's, no man's land.
Mm-hmm.
How's your no man's land been?
Pretty good. My family was out here for Christmas, and it was pretty rainy out here in LA. And normally we have one or two events kind of planned. They're not the type of people that need to be entertained the whole time. They're just content hanging out with us. But this year we didn't really have anything going on. Just it was so rainy. The streets were kind of flooded, and but yeah, we just hung out and. My brother got and his wife have a new puppy, and so it was a lot of like playing with the dog and just being together. So it was really nice. Have you guys been enjoying the winter break?
It's been chaotic because in my house during vacation, everyone is on vacation, and thus no one is on vacation.
Right.
So a lot of that, but I've been busy. I've had writing assignments and stuff. So I've been busily watching stuff that I need to write about.
I can't. You were talking about it a little bit before we got on mic, and I'm really looking forward to reading these.
Yeah.
I have to tell you about a strange phenomenon that happened to me over break. Well, even just really the month of December. I, for the first time in I don't know how many years, did not hear Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas once. Have you heard it this season?
Wow. Possibly once, but not as often as usual.
I have to clarify. I did go to like a Christmas event kind of thing, and there was like a singer, and she performed it. So I did hear it. But in past years, that song is so ubiquitous.
Yeah, it's hard to escape.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I start thinking I should be counting how many times I hear this. It might be, get into the 20s or something like that. And to be clear, I actually don't hate that song even as many times as I've heard it. It's one of those crazy songs like that's just so magical or well written or something that it just, you're like, every time you hear it, you're like, man, that song is just really catchy. I don't hate it, but it occurred to me, I think somewhere around December 23rd or something. Oh, you know what it was? Is because I was in my car and I was listening to the Christmas music radio station, and another Mariah Carey Christmas song came on, a different one. I don't remember which one. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm not used to hearing other Christmas songs by her. And in fact, I don't think I've heard All I Want for Christmas. And so then it started to be like, I'm not going to, switch the channel or try to prevent it, but like, let's see what happens. And I never did all the way through Christmas Day. I never heard it. I still haven't actually. And I was like thinking about it like a groundhog shadow kind of situation. Like, what does this mean for my upcoming year? Like, I don't know. What if I end up having the greatest year ever? And I'm like, now I need to like live trying to avoid it, or maybe it's the opposite. I don't know. So I was just kind of curious if it's been scaled back this year, like if you've heard it less, or I just thought it was strange because even as recently as last year, I'm sure I've heard it at minimum like 15 times in a holiday season.
See, I'm thinking that like normally when I hear it, like I don't listen to the radio, so I wouldn't be on the radio.
To be fair, I do less and less every year. So
that's definitely part of it, right? Yep. But the other thing is when I hear it, it's if I go into a store. And I can't remember when I went into a store during the past several weeks, For
me, it's been the movie theater because I've been there quite a bit. And I did walk out of something, and I remember hearing Nat King Cole singing Silent Night. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is nice. Like it's just very cozy, and I do love, for me, I mean, I love Christmas. And so it's really special. This is what Shane Black talks about, right? Where there's just this time of year where everyone's existing in this moment together, where there are lights everywhere and you're hearing the same music in places and whatever. And so I did enjoy that in the theater, but to your point, I don't think I was in very many stores, and I wasn't in a mall once actually.
Yeah, right.
I did, all my shopping basically online. So yeah, good point.
So I think that's the biggest factor.
Yeah.
Because the last time I was in a Target, because I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, I had cataract surgery 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the, as on the way back I needed to pick up some painkillers and stuff. And I remember thinking, the Christmas music has already started.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 2 days before Thanksgiving. But that from then to now, this is the last time I went into a Target. I just don't like going to, now, like usually I'll just tell my son to pick something up if I need to get something,
Right.
It's just easier.
Yeah.
That way. Costco, it's great. Like I don't have to go anymore. He does the Costco.
Oh, that's wonderful. You've got a bunch of task rabbits.
Yeah. Well, I've got a task rabbit.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off. He gets to drive my car, so he gets to do the errands.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good observation.
Yeah. That's funny. I have this memory of when I was, 8 or something, and my dad, it wasn't even our birthdays, it wasn't Christmas, but he's like, boys, I have something for you. And he held out 2 rakes. And he goes, I got these for you. And I remember thinking, wow, my very own rake. And I was so excited. And then several years later, out of the blue, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I can't believe he got away with that.
That's pretty brilliant.
It felt very special. Yeah.
But have you had a chance to watch anything during this time?
Yeah. I had, I know we're going to do a bonus episode over on the Patreon this week, and I have something to say about cord cutting and Christmas movies that maybe I'll get into over there. But I've been catching up on a bunch of TV. Really briefly, Pluribus wrapped up on Apple TV Plus, and man, I really love that show. I think now that we know what it is, it began as kind of a mystery. What is the show even about? And now that we know what it is and what the tone of it is, it's definitely a slow burn. And so I can recognize that it may not be for everyone, but man, did I enjoy it. I enjoyed being pulled along through the mystery and all the discoveries. And for anyone who likes Vince Gilligan and sort of a sci-fi in the suburbs kind of a thing, knowing that it is a very process-oriented, slower burn kind of show, and you're, discovering mysteries along the way, I think people will enjoy that. those people will enjoy that. And I'm going to miss it because it sounds like we won't be returning to that world, until I'm, in my mid 50s. So I don't, that's like kind of the sad thing now, right? Where we've talked about this, streamers, the gaps between seasons just seem to be getting longer and longer. And I think we learned that they're writing it right now. So we won't even be seeing the show till 2027, which is wild.
Well, I was going to read this letter later, but since you're specifically discussing this, we got an email about Pluribus.
Oh,
from Adam O.
Okay.
Who says, I'm looking forward to hearing an episode when Zachy finally gets around to Pluribus. This is not that day, Adam. I know. It's on his list, so maybe this time next year. Hey, fingers crossed. So this email is mostly addressed to Brian. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you've been enjoying the show as much as I am. For me, it takes about 90 minutes to finish an episode because as a Burkino transplant, I keep pausing during episodes to figure out where they were filming. The hospital scene at the community college campus just up the hill from me, the Sprouts exterior, the mall a mile away, Carol's cul-de-sac. Vince Gilligan learned from the whole Walter White house drama and built a fake neighborhood on the West Mesa. Funny enough, Gus Fring's house in Breaking Bad was in our old neighborhood, and my daughter got a free autograph from Giancarlo Esposito when she told him honestly that she sold Girl Scout cookies to that house. Living in Albuquerque, it's always fun to see locations around the city highlighted in TV shows and movies. I imagine that for Brian living in LA, this is what it's like all the time. So if you're ever in Albuquerque, let me know and I'll give you the Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Pluribus, etc. tour. Zachy, even though I'm disappointed you haven't watched Pluribus, Dad? He said the same thing to me yesterday. The offer extends to you as well. Thanks again for another year of such fun distraction. Best wishes in 2026.
Thank you, Adam. And I will take you up on that if I'm ever out there. I did read about the cul-de-sac being a facade, which is probably smart, right? Because of the whole pizza thing that was happening with Breaking Bad. There's for people who don't know, there's an episode where Walter White gets upset and he's holding a pizza box. And so he throws it up on the roof of his house. Or he throws it away, and I think it accidentally lands on the roof of the house.
That's right.
And so apparently in real life, people were going to that house, which is a real residence, and getting pizzas and throwing the pizzas on the roof, which, I mean, it made me chuckle. But like if you live there, that would get very old very fast.
Yeah, that's getting TP'd every day.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and it's just having strangers. I mean, I think about, Marty McFly's house out here. There's always a stream of people kind of. Well, not a stream of people, but several times I've seen, when I've been past it, I've seen other people staring at it. And, excuse me, the Home Alone house, that was a steady stream. That was wild. When I showed up in front of that house, there were people leaving. When I left, there were people arriving. I mean, just all day, people standing outside, taking pictures of your house. I mean, if you walk in front of your window with your robe and coffee in the morning, it's very likely you could end up in someone's, picture. So it's very smart then to, may as well just make a fake cul-de-sac. But, I thought it was interesting. I won't say what it is, but there's a plot point where basically Carol, the main character, she, I don't think this is, whatever, it's obscure, but she kind of uses paint in the cul-de-sac and does something with paint in the cul-de-sac. And I saw some people pointing out on Google Earth, they could go back in its history and see when it was actually there, when they were filming. And and then see like the oil residue-y sort of stain left behind from the overhead shots from satellites. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, because it being sort of a sci-fi fantasy-esque show, seeing remnants of it in the real world is kind of a fun thing. But yeah, dude, I am so curious if you ever get around to it.
I have every intention. I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to get off my plate that's like work related, and then I'm gonna get into it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple more things. I'll go through them kind of briefly. There's not a ton I need to say, but I'll just say last night actually, I didn't get around to as many like Christmas movies as I wanted to this year, and so while like you said, we're still in that sort of in between period with the holidays, it's still before New Year's. I was like, okay, I can still do this with some of them. And so last night I rewatched the Holdovers, with Paul Giamatti and Alexander Payne movie. And Man, I love that movie. Have you seen that movie?
It's on my list.
Oh, I actually almost texted you as soon as it ended. It is such a wonderful movie. It's basically came out a couple years ago, but it feels intentionally so like a movie from the 1970s. Like they've added even like little imperfections to the what am I trying to say? Not the frame, but the image, like little pops and things. And it takes place in the 70s. And it's basically about an unlikely trio of people, a woman who works in a kitchen, a cafeteria, a student, and a teacher at this boarding school who have to stay at the school over Christmas break. And they're all sad and unhappy, or something's going on in their lives. And the way that they don't get along together at first, but then kind of find ways to bond with one another over the course of the film. It's a special movie, and I highly recommend it to everyone and to you also. So, what else? Real quick. Oh, Stranger Things. I watched Volume 2, and what's been interesting? I feel like for the first time, I'm seeing people go hard on Stranger Things online.
Right? A lot.
Yeah. Weird, because
it's a little much in my opinion.
Well, I mean, there's a character. I don't think this is. It's not a spoiler if people have been watching, but there's a character who kind of comes out as gay to his friends, and there's been a lot of scrutiny over that, which, in sort of a shocking change of pace, the things I've seen haven't been like homophobic per se, but more like the story kind of halts in its tracks to do it. It is what people feel, and I'm like, I don't know. It didn't bother me, but
no, I that's what's weird to me is to me it felt like a pretty natural progression based on the way things have been going.
Well, because it is important to this character for what they have to do next.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean that's just one component of it. But another thing I'm seeing is a lot of people criticizing sort of the storytelling itself and the way that there's so much exposition and 80s references, and I'm like, wait. You're critiquing Stranger Things after 60 plus episodes now for 80s references? Like I'm not saying that it's not heavy-handed occasionally, but that's what we've been doing for 5 seasons. I don't know. It's just weird that people are suddenly now like coming down on it, because I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of the way it's always been, but I enjoy it for what it is, and I'm just continuing to enjoy the ride. So,
I'm kind of like, I'm tracking with everything up to where we're at now, and basically all that's left is the finale, right? So, I mean, there's still time for them to shit the bed completely.
Yeah, and it sure seems like people have their knives out, hoping for it in a weird way. Or at least maybe that's what's being. I'm clicking on it, and I'm continuing to see that, and I'm not seeing as much positive things. I don't know.
So I wonder if partly this is just your algorithm feeding you.
Could be, yeah.
That, but the other thing is, like, this is the problem. This is how social media has ruined pop culture. Because the discourse becomes the narrative, right?
Yes.
And we're not allowed to just experience it as it is. Like I'm trying to think of something comparable, like a highly anticipated finale from the before times, when you would have just right away had people like instantaneously online just crapping all over it.
I feel like Lost is one of the first ones I can kind of remember.
But even
where I remember hearing everybody's opinions on it, and if they were disappointed.
Yeah.
Not necessarily memes per se, but like there wasn't GIFs.
like Sopranos, right? Was
that's a good one.
But that was pre-social media when it ended.
Yeah.
So it was like, even that was kind of like a different world,
Yeah.
And so my point is, like, you don't get to experience the work on its own until you're several years down, and the discourse has passed. It's like a zombie horde. It's moved on.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when I look at something like Stranger Things, and again, I want to couch this as we record this, we don't know how it ends. They may completely botch the ending. But I feel like the real story is going to be how it's viewed holistically as now that it's done and it's a complete thing and you view it. It's never going to be viewed with these multi-year gaps anymore. It's going to be viewed as one thing.
Yep.
And how will that, like, to me, like when I look at the finale, that's the lens I'm going to look at it through.
Right.
And so much of so much of the online discussion, it feels artificial because it's geared towards engagement, and any engagement is deemed as good, whether it's good or bad.
Totally.
Totally.
It's I've talked about, we've talked about this before, where one of my pet peeves right now is I can't stand those videos where people are just acting surprised about things. Where they're either seeing some, like, stitching, some other video or reel, or like a clip from a movie, and Luke, I'm your father, and then at the bottom of the screen you're seeing some person go, what? No. What? Huh? That stuff. I mean, it's so artificial, obviously, but it just really irks me. And this is like another version of that, where, it's just this sort of, rage bait, I guess is what I'm basically describing. It's just, it's really tiresome. And then it pollutes the conversation, and it's a bummer.
Like this, like, especially like if we're just looking at Twitter, for example, right? Like the new paradigm with the check marks is you pay for it and you're getting paid for engagement. So there's something fundamentally dishonest about X portion of the people posting. And then they're stirring. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you could have somebody be like, oh, Stranger Things has always sucked. Maybe you don't mean it, whatever, but you put something like that out there and it's like chum in the water. Everybody's going to start responding to that. So, but you've potentially got a conversation that's just spinning and spinning based on a completely artificial, dishonest premise.
Totally.
But that then becomes the story.
Yep. Yes, that's the problem, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because then those threads or whatever will start being like sources in other articles.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this isn't quite beginning from a genuine place. And then, like you said, that becomes the story, and it's
Anyway, so but I'm sure in our next regular show we'll have something to say about the Stranger Things finale. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to talking about it. I just want to see these kids using analog ingenuity to save the world. That's what I've enjoyed. That's what I want to see more of. We'll see how it ends.
I just want them to be able to relax finally and settle in at the rest home. They've earned it.
Right.
It's been a long run.
Well, two more things I'll mention real quick, because these were kind of smaller films that went under the radar, and I think they're both streaming now. I saw a movie called Dust Bunny.
Okay.
And it's interesting. Out here, I have signed up for this thing where I get to go to test screenings occasionally. And so you'll get an email and it has a premise, and you can go see it before it's finished and give notes and that kind of thing. So that's where I first heard of this movie. I only bring that up because I had never seen anything for it since. Like, I haven't seen a trailer. I haven't seen a review. I was just looking through my Regal app at what was playing, and I saw Dust Bunny. I didn't even remember the title. I was like, what is this? And then I remembered, oh, this is that premise from like a year ago. Like, man, this is just out with absolutely no fanfare. But the reason I was interested is the log line. Listen to this log line. Oh, and it comes from, I should say, Brian Fuller, who, brought us Pushing Daisies and Hannibal and all those. So a real, big imagination, very stylish filmmaker. So this is the premise to Dust Bunny. An 8-year-old girl asks her scheming neighbor for help in killing the monster under her bed that she thinks ate her family. And I should amend that. Basically, not scheming neighbor, he's an assassin. So basically, this girl figures out that her neighbor is an assassin, and so she hires him to kill the monster under her bed that she thinks ate her family. I heard that premise, and I was like, I'm going tonight. That sounds like such a Brian Hall special. What a great idea. And that's kind of my review. Great idea. Okay execution. I was a little disappointed, I have to admit. I did eventually look up some other people's thoughts on this, and I saw a couple of people say that it was Amblin-y, like an Amblin movie, a Spielberg movie from the 80s. And I was like, not exactly. Which is also a pet peeve of mine, by the way. Like a lot of times there'll be like an alien movie. I remember this with Cowboys and Aliens. People being like, oh, this is like the closest comparison is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, so you've never seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Oh, it has aliens in it? Got it. But no, this is more of a fairy tale aesthetic to it, a little heightened reality. It kind of reminds me of like Amelie Light or like Pan's Labyrinth a little bit.
That's interesting. Okay.
Which, by the way, sounds pretty amazing, right? But unfortunately, I feel like it was a little bit style over substance. The style, it's got style for days. And the way that the characters behave and the filmmaking and even the look of the movie itself, but the characters and the story itself, I felt were just like a little lacking. It leaned a little too heavily on the style, and I wish I'd felt a bit more as I was watching it. So I left a little underwhelmed. Still thinking it was a cool premise, and maybe even if I have an opportunity to watch it again down the line, knowing what it is, I might even give it a second shot. But yeah, I felt a little like, I kind of wanted a little more out of this, a little more out of the characters. But I'm also seeing some people who did enjoy it, and it, off the top of my head, it kind of made me think of like maybe a movie like Donnie Darko.
Okay.
Where I get that movie isn't for everyone. Like that movie is its vibes, and it will either work for you or not, or you'll be like, so what is that about? Like, and I like Donnie Darko. Those vibes work for me. And so maybe these vibes might be enough to keep this thing afloat for other people. So I would say if you're a Brian Fuller fan, maybe even check out the trailer and see if this looks like your thing. And yeah, I'd be curious to talk about this with more people because I don't know anyone else who's seen this. So
you said it is streaming now.
I should say with certainty. I'm gonna Google it. It was playing for like, half a minute at my theater. Yeah. Well, okay. It looks like you can. The only thing I'm seeing is you can purchase it on YouTube for $15. So
so it's on PVOD. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably coming soon.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then lastly, kind of in a similar vein, I saw a movie called Eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this?
That describes the long life it enjoyed in theaters, right?
You're right.
This is Ron Howard?
No.
Oh,
no.
What am I thinking of?
Are you thinking?
I'm thinking of Eden, I think.
Yes. Which that's another sort of that's a good Cinematrix movie, by the way. Already.
Yeah, that has a ton of people in it, right?
Yeah, no, this has Miles Teller, Elizabeth.
Yes. Okay. I know what you're talking
Turner.
About. Yeah. It's the ghost. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
So basically, I'll read the IMDb summary. It says, in an afterlife where souls have 1 week to decide where to spend eternity, Joan is faced with the impossible choice between the man she spent her life with and her first love, who died young. And
it's my Rose from Titanic scenario.
Yes, exactly. So, exactly. And
which for people who don't know what I'm talking about, the thing I've always said is we see her at the end of Titanic after she dies. There's Jack waiting for her, and I'm like, well, she did have a wife, she did have a life and a husband, and everything that she lived for all the years after Titanic. Is he just like waiting forever for her to show up?
Yeah, and where is the person that she spent her life with?
Yeah,
man, this feels like you could have conjured up this movie.
I should have.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, again, what an incredible premise. That is an incredible premise.
Yeah.
And I would say, for me, this was a great idea that was pretty good.
Oh, man. You're killing me this week.
I know. Here's the thing. There's some fun here, and there's a lot of clever, inventive stuff, especially in his depiction of the afterlife as sort of, I don't know, like, not bureaucratic. It's not like Brazil or anything, but it's just, there's like, once you arrive, you have an aide who's carrying a clipboard, and it's like, okay, here's all these different afterlives. Like, here is, Snowy Mountain ski adventure, and here's one of them is A World Without Men, and that one is sold out, and like just a lot of fun, clever stuff. And it has heart when it matters. So that's why I say pretty good. but I felt like it was maybe a draft or two away from its fullest potential.
That's interesting.
But that, I think a bigger issue for me was I didn't feel a lot of chemistry between the three leads.
Oh, that's okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
so wait, you said it's Miles Teller, Elizabeth Olsen. Who's the third person?
Callum Turner.
Callum Turner. Okay, gotcha.
Who I know mostly as someone people are speculating possibly the next Bond, and also dating Dua Lipa. That's really all I know him from. But they're like, it's not like I dislike any of these actors, but I wasn't feeling a real spark or chemistry between them where I really felt the dilemma for Joan. You know, like, I honestly, this is with Rob Reiner on my mind recently, I couldn't help but think, oh, this is something Peak Reiner would have crushed. Like, just the heart and the sweetness and really nailing the chemistry and presenting the almost impossible choice. It's like, well, I love or had loved both of these people at some point, you know, so what do I do with this? And I was picturing like Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. And I know this is kind of unfair to do that, but you know, because Miles Teller is playing what I would imagine Tom Hanks would have played, which is Hanks can be cantankerous,
sure,
but he can also be very sweet and charming. And even his cantankerousness can be kind of charming, you know?
Right.
So you can imagine with him being like kind of like frustrated and whatever in certain moments where she would still find him endearing, but also the character who died younger, the man who died younger, that's kind of an unrequited love in a way. Like, she didn't get to know what that life could have been like,
okay,
you know? And
gotcha.
So it's not to say that it didn't ultimately succeed. I kept having like nits I was thinking about along the way, and mostly it had to do with the chemistry. I really wish I had felt more of a, man, what an impossible choice. And I kind of didn't, as much as I think the movie maybe wanted me to. I don't know. But at the same time, so in the end, it felt maybe more like a clever exercise, you know, with some sweet moments and inventive ideas, but just missing a little bit of, I wish it had a little more magic for me. But I will say the back half of this movie, I liked a lot more. I feel like that's when the gears really started turning, and they mined the uniqueness of the world in really cool and in inventive ways and heartfelt ways. And I was feeling, I guess, the desperation from everyone in a way that made me more endeared to their situation. So a little uneven, but still a cute idea.
Yeah.
So I think this could be a good rental.
Okay.
For people if they're interested in the premise. And I'd be curious. And it may hit for different people in different ways also.
Yeah, it seems like something that people would discover on Netflix or something.
Yeah, I will say ultimately at the end, I mean, I did like where it landed.
Sure.
And that's a difficult premise. What do you do with that situation, you know, that dilemma? And I thought it landed in a really nice place. So,
you know, one thought I have is, and this is not related specifically to this film because I haven't seen it, but it feels to me like The Good Place kind of like did the Afterlife for a while now. Like it did the sort of postmodern look at what the afterlife is so well that I feel like we need to just leave it alone for a little while.
You know, I would agree, at least in terms of maybe if they made another television show and did something a little too similar. I feel like that is more of a backdrop.
That's interesting. Okay.
So it's really more about the characters and their dilemma. And maybe that's why I couldn't help but feel it a little bit more, where I wish I had, I don't know, just connected more with them.
Yeah.
Because yes, there are mostly it's the conceit, right? And so we just know what she needs to choose because that's the conceit. And there's just clever background gags that you see, but it doesn't really, that isn't like a super big component of the story itself, I guess.
Gotcha.
Like The Good Place,
gotcha.
Which was a really brilliant, like you say,
man, what a
modern sort of take on
what
that.
A great show.
Really good. Really good. Yeah. So yeah, like I'd say like mixed positive for me on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but how about you?
Well, I'll just mention really quickly that I'm currently watching the second season of The Pit.
Oh yes, right.
And I can't say too much because the embargo hasn't lifted yet, but I really enjoyed the first season, and I think to me this is the type of model that streaming should be doing more of, which is taking advantage of the bigger budget and, being able to not have, broadcast restrictions, and certainly for a medical drama that's applicable. But also, look, there is drama in a hospital, and that's always been the case, And so it's a network type show using the streaming model, and there's a reason it really became kind of a water cooler hit last year, Noah Wiley, I've said it before. I mean, he just anchors the joint,
Yeah.
There is one moment, and this isn't a spoiler, but there's a medical procedure that is something new in order to stitch up a wound, and the Wiley character is like, that's good, the MacGyver procedure. And you have the new residents talking to themselves. They're like, who's Dr. MacGyver? Does he work here?
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's where we're at.
I kind of wondered if that had survived as, like taken on a life of its own, where you could say, like, I MacGyvered this thing together, but perhaps not.
So that starts streaming, I think after the start of the year.
Yeah, I looked January 11th.
Okay, yeah. So, I suspect it'll have a similar reception with audiences. I think they did something very smart by dropping that weekly. I think the Netflix drop it all at once model just has not translated to sustained conversation.
It's funny. I feel like it kind of. I have feelings about it from show to show. Like, I wouldn't have minded binging Pluribus, to be honest. Kind of like I did with Severance season 1. Man, that was like a really memorable. I mean, it sounds like I'm half making a joke, but it was a really memorable night. And it makes the waiting a lot more painful because it's not spread out. But it just works really, really well in that way. On the other hand, I think it's been kind of great how Stranger Things has been doled out.
Yeah, that's true.
5. I mean, I'm glad I didn't just. I wouldn't even be thinking about it right now if I had just watched all of them in one weekend a couple of weeks ago around Thanksgiving, right? And so I was thinking about it around Thanksgiving, and it gave me enough to feel good and want to see more. And then there was more Christmas Day, and then now New Year's Eve. So,
see, I'm just. And this is, we're going to talk about this movie, in the new year, but you can't tell me that a theatrical release would not have been far, far better for Wake Up Dead Man than dropping it on Netflix, and it has like already been forgotten.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's talking about it.
We were talking about this, I think, before we started recording, but I think you asked if I was going to see the Stranger Things finale in theaters. And I was telling you, it wasn't really on my radar because it was New Year's Eve, and I was like, well, I'm going to be doing something that night, and whatever. But I was just out of curiosity. I looked up on the Regal app, the showtimes, and just there was maybe 4, and I clicked on it, and all 4 were sold out, like literally sold out.
Yeah,
like not one seat. And then I started getting like a little bit of FOMO, even though I had no plans to do this originally. And I was like, whoa, am I missing out on something? Like, maybe it would be fun to see it with a crowd. And it would be cool to see this on the big screen. And then they started adding more showtimes and more showtimes and more showtimes, and they keep selling out. And I saw one of the Duffer Brothers posting something, obviously very proud and advertising that, hey, there's like 1 million plus people who have already reserved their seat for the Stranger Things finale in theaters. And, go check it out. We're really excited for you to see it that way. Currently, Netflix has it in, about 600 theaters. So try to find one near you. And I was like, 600 theaters? Like, over 1 million people have made, reservations in advance for this thing. And it's selling out everywhere. And you're only putting it in 600 theaters. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like defiant, doesn't it? Like, they will not just like indulge
Right.
in the idea that people may want to see their stuff in theaters. You know, it's like they're just going to do the littlest amount possible. And I'm like, man, that's just such a bummer. Such a bummer.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, I saw Ryan Johnson posting a lot also too. When Wake Up Dead Man debuted on Netflix, he was like, it's debuting on Netflix, but it's also still playing in theaters. It's still playing in a few theaters. Please go see it there if you can. And I'm like, oh, that makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Like, why not have your cake and eat it too?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Ryan Johnson, you have to be thinking, like, I mean, he got his bag after doing these two, right? But I don't think he has any interest in making more of these for Netflix because, I mean, it strangles the conversation in the cradle. You know?
Yep.
Anyway, hey, on that note, we got some listener letters, Brian.
Mail call!
I believe you have a letter for me.
18,000 letters, all addressed to Santa Claus.
You got mail.
So this is a letter we got at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. This is from Mark LaChance, who is responding to you having recently rewatched The Shining.
Oh.
You saw it on the big screen?
Mm-hmm.
He says, I recently saw The Shining in IMAX as well, and I agree with Brian that it was a totally immersive experience. I also had some other thoughts I wanted to share after seeing one of my favorite films on the big screen for the first time. In my opinion, the movie still holds up as the greatest horror film of all time. It also looked amazing, and it was interesting to see little details that you wouldn't notice in a smaller frame, and I've seen the film numerous times. I also have a greater appreciation for Shelley Duvall's performance, which some have criticized, but she delivered what Kubrick wanted, even if it deviated from the demeanor and appearance of the character in the novel. I realize that there have been accusations that Kubrick's treatment of Duvall bordered on emotional abuse. However, in a book I have, Kubrick, by Michael Cement, there is an interview with her in which she doesn't have anything negative to say about Kubrick other than the shoot was arduous. Kubrick always took a year or so on principal photography, and the shoot for The Shining ran from May of 78 to March of 79.
Wow.
That was, yeah, I mean, I remember when they made Eyes Wide Shut, you know, that was famously elongated. He was also notorious for doing excessive takes, and he actually did 60 takes of the scene where Jack breaks down the bathroom door with an axe, and it is one of the most iconic scenes in cinema history, so it paid off. His perfectionism is what makes his film so great and solidifies him as arguably the greatest director of all time. Now, if they could just bring Barry Lyndon to IMAX, thanks for keeping the podcast going.
Love this. Thanks, Mark. I'm so glad you enjoyed it too. I would say that was probably one of my top theater going experiences of 2025. It was transportive. Seeing it on IMAX in particular, it was just, immersive. And you know what's interesting? Speaking of the performances, I know Stephen King isn't a fan of this version of his story because he said, you know, you kind of want to think that Jack Torrance is this normal guy, and then he transforms in this hotel, and right off the bat there's just something sinister about Jack Nicholson. You know? Right. I mean, even in his interview at the hotel at the very beginning, there's just something kind of off about him, and you know, you kind of can't help it, his arched eyebrows and everything. They're just, and I can appreciate that, especially if you're the person who wrote the story. And Shelley Duvall is doing kind of interesting things. It all just feels very heightened and dreamlike. And I can appreciate if that's not how you want your story portrayed, you know, in film form. But like, man, this movie is just so singular. I can't think of another movie that looks like this movie, that feels like this movie, that sounds like this movie. And something about those performances, as dreamlike and kind of off kilter as they are, for me, I mean, that's kind of part of the magic, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's what you get after pushing people for 60 takes. I don't know if that's abuse. I wasn't there, but like, maybe you do get something that feels slightly weird and untethered, and that just adds to the secret sauce of this movie, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, that is, I'm not, now I feel like I'm excusing potential abuse. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, even like David Fincher, when he's just like take 80. And everyone's like, are you out of your mind? Maybe there could be a method to that madness. I don't know, but certainly not excusing any abuse to actors.
Well, it sort of reminds me of, obviously there's a lot of James Cameron conversation right now.
Yeah, sure.
And there was, I don't know if you saw this, he made a comment about how Amy Poehler made a joke about his marriage to Catherine Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
And she said something to the effect of like, basically, this was when Amy Poehler hosted the Golden Globes, and you had Catherine Bigelow and James Cameron were competing against each other. This is your Avatar and Hurt Locker one, and she sort of implied that it was, torturous or whatever. Catherine Bigelow underwent, some kind of torturous experience. And this is Cameron
specifically. She was talking about like, well, it makes sense that Bigelow could make a movie like Zero Dark 30. She has, experience with torture. Like she was married to James Cameron or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then this would have been after Hurt Locker. So then, okay. But regardless, yeah. The point being that, right. What you said is correct. And Cameron now, with the benefit of however long, a decade plus, is like, that was hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these people laughing about something they don't know anything about, and he's like, and that just kind of tells you what they think of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I read that, and I'm like, I don't know what their marriage was like, obviously, but I couldn't help but empathize with him saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is this reputation that has been famously built up that he's a taskmaster or whatever, but the other side of it is like the vast majority of people who work with him want to work with him again.
Yeah,
and Kate Winslet, who was with him on Titanic, is back. She's made 2 Avatar movies with him.
Back in water, no less.
Yeah, right. And so, my point is this kind of like, I'm not excusing any kind of psychological abuse or anything else. I'm not, but I'm also saying there's stuff that we as external observers, we don't know.
Mm-hmm, right.
And we don't know about the relationship that directors have with their actors.
Right.
And so that, that's an important part of it. I mean, when Cameron said that, he's like, all these people laughing, it like kind of tells you what they think of you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found I couldn't help but feel bad for him,
Yeah. Yeah. You wonder if that made him a little reflective, because I feel like he references his reputation more than he ever has before, where he's like, yeah, I could be kind of an asshole. And, I've changed. Like I've heard him say that in interviews.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the guy I was several years ago and whatever.
Right.
I don't think he ever makes excuses for himself or says that he would do it differently. Notably, he doesn't, necessarily say that, but he says that he's different now.
Yeah, I mean, he says something to the effect of like, I mean, I have got as thick skin as anybody, and it's like, well, obviously this bothered you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you realize like it doesn't matter how much success you achieve. I mean, you don't want to be thought of as a prick,
right.
But yeah, I mean, even with Kubrick, I mean, I referenced Eyes Wide Shut before. I mean, that I remember because that all filming was happening. Like I was following it,
Mm-hmm.
and Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were basically off the grid for like years.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like 2 of the biggest movie stars in the world. Yeah, off the grid, exactly, off the board for a while at peak moments in their careers.
And you never got the sense from either of them that they resented him or the film,
No. Yeah, I mean, obviously Tom Cruise kind of, revered the guy. I'd be curious, not that I feel like she would say anything different, but I would love to hear more from Nicole Kidman's perspective, just of that whole experience. And
well, I know, I mean, Tom Cruise, like the last phone conversation he had with him, not having any indication that this person was going to die, it ended with, "I love you, Stanley."
Mm-hmm.
So that says something.
Yeah. By the way, just one more comment on this Shining thing. Thinking about 60 takes with breaking down the door with the axe.
Yeah.
Imagine being the prop guy on a Stanley Kubrick movie or like a David Fincher movie. Like you can't just have like, one dinner plate that's going to be thrown at the wall. You got to have like 300. Like, I mean, how many doors did that guy have prepared?
Yeah, probably he had to have them ready to go, right?
Yeah.
My question is, was Jack saying "Here's Johnny" every time, or was he doing like a Homer Simpson thing where,
Right.
This is 60 minutes, whatever.
Right. Totally.
Well, thank you for that, Mark.
Yeah.
Here is a comment we got on YouTube, and this is from Luke's Mail 24. This is the benefit of having our commentary tracks and whatnot on YouTube, is they're discovered by a different audience, but also, man, we get comments on stuff from way back, and this is a comment on our commentary track for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Wow.
Which we recorded in 2018.
Nice.
So going back a bit.
Yeah.
And here we go. Great commentary as always. In regards to the violence in this movie, I'd be interested to hear your reaction to online critic Chris Stuckman's discussion on this film. He is, as you know, a massive Indiana Jones fan, and he is of the opinion that Spielberg took more risks before this movie, such as Quint being chomped on with us in full view to see, a movie which again was PG at the time, or heads exploding / melting in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And post the controversy on Temple of Doom, Spielberg stopped taking risks when it came to surprising violence, with the exception being Saving Private Ryan, and that he really wasn't as graphic. I'd be interested to know your opinion of it. Also, Molaram is my favorite villain in the whole series, and I was bummed that with the Adventure Indiana Jones action figure series from 2 years ago, they never released him due to fears of being perceived as stereotyping. So just to tackle that last bit first, when Dial of Destiny came out, Hasbro put out a line of 6-inch figures called the Indiana Jones Adventure Series, and they had characters from every movie, with the exception of Crystal Skull, so no Mutt Williams in 6-inch scale. But in the Temple of Doom line, they had Shorty and Indy in his Club Obi-Wan jacket and whatnot. They had one sleeve torn Indy, but no Thuggies, no Molaram. And yeah, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, I guess there was this presumption that it would be perceived as a negative stereotype.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a couple years ago where they stopped selling like Slave Leia stuff.
Yes.
So I think maybe and this is all Disney now, right? I mean, Lucasfilm. So maybe there's just extra layers of thinking.
Some of these decisions don't make a ton of sense because I don't think anybody viewed, that version of Princess Leia in a demeaning way. You know what I mean? Like, just call her Leia as Jabba's prisoner.
Yeah, it wasn't Carrie Fisher. This is all from memory, so I'm paraphrasing and maybe even making half of this up. But I feel like she was like, well, just call her like Hutt Slayer Leia or something. Or someone said that. And she was defending it too. Like, I think she was like, I look great. Come on. Yeah. I think there was like a story where like some kid, I don't remember if it was a boy or girl, but some kids saw the action figure and the parent was like, I don't know how to explain this to my kid. And Carrie Fisher said, well, explain that, this gross person made me wear that outfit and I didn't like it, so I killed him.
Yeah. So some of these decisions are odd because I can't imagine there would have been that kind of uproar over a Molaram figure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just thinking about it in terms of those figures would likely, if we're talking about a toy aisle, they would be in like the adult collector toy section anyway.
That's the way I was literally just thinking. Like, I mean, it's really more for collectors.
Yeah. So a lot of this stuff is like overthinking.
Yeah.
And so I agree with that. I mean, I got that whole range of figures.
Oh, did you? Yeah, they look pretty cool. I didn't, but I saw them. I know what you're talking about.
I was like, this is probably the last time we're going to get a mass market line of Indiana Jones figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I got all the toys they came out with for Crystal Skull back in 2008, and those were like 3 3/4 inch.
Mm-hmm. And
I was like, you know what? In for a penny. Yes, I got them all. I haven't even opened them. They're in a box sitting, about 5 feet away from me right now.
Yeah.
That was when Hasbro was doing this thing where they were like, oh, we don't want plastic, it's bad for the environment. So figures came in sealed, windowless cardboard boxes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So a whole lot of bad decisions all the way around. I mean, really, like,
Thinking about it. Sorry, I don't mean to pivot here, but if there's something else you want to say about.
No, I'm done.
No, but going back to what we were saying earlier, to give a little bit of grace to like a Disney or something. We were saying where one person not being genuine, just saying like, can you believe this toy? And posting it on their social media, and then it starts a thread where everyone gets angry, and then some people agree and don't agree, and then suddenly it becomes a USA Today article. Maybe they're like, yeah, it's just not worth it.
Right.
Like maybe the math is, you know what? Probably like 99 people out of 100 will not care, but one person could start this stupid, inauthentic thing that's going to become the talking point and a headline and things people discuss on podcasts or the news. So you know what? It ain't worth it.
Tain't worth it.
Maybe that's part of it.
Did you want to comment on violent Spielberg?
Yes. Well, do you have thoughts? I'm curious.
I'll jump off of whatever you have to say.
Well, I thought that was interesting. I've mentioned this in the past, and I saw someone mention James Cameron and Steven Spielberg and how they have a lot of horror elements in their work, even though they're not thought of as horror directors. And I was like, that is so apt. And there's something very interesting about that. Like I wouldn't consider myself a horror person. Strangely, I'm becoming more of one as I get older, which is weird. But growing up, I wasn't at all. But there were a lot of horror things happening in Spielberg movies that I wouldn't have categorized that way. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously in Jurassic Park, from like a guy getting, eaten off of a toilet and, the dinosaur like shaking its head and tearing him in, or literally a guy being torn in half in The Lost World. Right.
Yep.
But it was like just enough to make me go, oh, but in a fun way. But I do agree. Yeah. Post Temple of Doom, he scaled back on the horror, but I wouldn't say he scaled back on the darkness. Minority Report, AI, there was like a sinisterness.
And dark in a different way. Munich, I think.
Literally, that was my third example. Yep.
Yeah.
He occasionally gets criticized for his version of The Color Purple because with that story, I mean, he's dealing with really dark themes, but everything is still beautifully staged and photographed, and his version smooths over some of the darkness of the book. But as he's gotten older, he seems more willing and interested in telling darker stories.
Right.
I mean, I remember that moment in Munich where that woman gets assassinated.
Yep.
And it's just really disturbing.
Yep.
In its like banality,
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just like different. It's I don't know. I'm curious to hear you talk more about this.
Well, I mean, I think this connects with the conversations we've had before about how there is a trajectory that filmmakers go on, and you can't really compare the things at the tail end of their filmography with stuff at the earliest edge, because they're growing, they're becoming different people, and Spielberg was sort of a representing an adolescent sensibility in the 80s, and I think that was what we could attribute much of his success to. But I mean, eventually you conquer that realm, and then you're looking for new things to do, so it's only natural.
Yeah.
I think the 90s is a transitional period for him, as represented in 1 year in 1993. The man does Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. You talk about, an identity crisis almost. This is what he's great at. This is what he wants to do, and he's trying to. For a little while there, he's trying to hold both globes in his hand at the same time.
Right. Yeah. So I think it is true that he's sort of scaled back on that horror, even like that sort of, maybe you could call it fun comic booky horror.
Yeah.
But then he was interested in exploring kind of like more like real world horror.
Yeah. I mean, the in hindsight, the reaction to Temple of Doom seems a bit overblown, because I certainly never viewed it as that far removed from what we got in Raiders, you know?
You know, it's funny. I mostly agree with that, but I had two funny experiences. I didn't really grow up with Temple of Doom, actually, until like my late teen years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember why. It wasn't like my parents kept it from me. It wasn't on TV as much, or I don't know why. But I remember being in college.
So you never saw it until your late teens?
Yes. Although in my elementary school library, they had the storybook.
Right.
And so I remember being like, wow, and like flipping through it. And they had a huge picture of Molaram with the flaming heart in his hand. And I remember thinking like, what am I looking at? Like, it was terrifying, but obviously I kept looking at it. It was like intriguing, you know?
Yeah.
But I had this experience in college where I was in a dorm room and we were watching Temple of Doom, and it must have been around the holidays, and a dad walked in and he was picking up his son or something. And it was during like the height of like the most horrific moments of Temple of Doom. And I remember thinking like, if he doesn't know what we're watching, he must be like, what the hell are you guys like watching right now? Because it's really horrifying.
Yeah.
You know, people shrieking and being lowered into lava, and, you know, a person putting a hand in a human chest and ripping out a heart as the guy's screaming in terror. And if you don't have the context, like, oh, no, this is Indiana Jones, which is funny. Again, like this magic trick that Spielberg pulled where suddenly you're like, oh, okay, bring the kid.
Have fun, kids.
Yeah. But I remember that, and that sticks in my mind of like, yeah, that is pretty horrifying. And then also my brother somehow never saw it until he was an adult. And so I was like, dude, I can't believe there's an Indiana Jones movie, a classic one you haven't seen. You have to watch this. Mm-hmm. And so we sat him down. We were over at Chad's place. And when it got to that part, he actually looked at us and went, holy crap. With no context, he wasn't conditioned to it. He didn't see it as a kid, and he was shocked.
This is when Molaram pulls the dude's heart out.
Yeah, just that whole moment, just how dark that portion of the movie goes. So I was like, yeah, like it was kind of a reminder, like, yeah, this is pretty heavy.
So the trick is condition your kids early. Get them in when they don't. Before they lack the capacity to object morally, that's when you got to sneak it in.
Well, I think too, another part of the trick is in Jaws, it's these little bursts. I mean, Quint dying is horrifying, but we've spent a whole movie not really. I mean, we see a leg fall and whatever, but it's not like, that's not the movie.
Right.
It's these moments in the movie. And similar in Raiders. I mean, Raiders is pretty violent. You know, you get the guy in the propeller blade and all that, but like the head exploding and all that, that is like the crescendo at the end.
Right.
You know, and we've kind of earned it, and it's strangely, darkly satisfying in a weird sort of way, because we're like, what is in the ark? And we're leaning forward, you know, like, because we spent a whole movie building up to this. Right. But I feel like Temple of Doom, and this is like maybe my one of a couple criticisms of it, is that movie just kind of stops in its tracks for that moment and kind of like wallows in darkness for a while, like maybe a little too long. So maybe that's why it feels a little different to people. I don't know.
I personally would have liked the version of Hook where Peter Pan pulls out Rufio's beating heart.
Dude, I always am taking a sip of coffee. As soon as you said Hook, I was like, oh no, this was a mistake. Why did I take a sip? I was like, what's he gonna say? Yeah.
I feel like we missed out. I don't know. Spielberg robbed future generations.
Well, no, I mean, he doesn't then have that moment that's really sad when Rufio gets like a sword through his chest, but it works because we earned it and we got there, and we hate to see it. I don't know.
I want to do a commentary for Hook one of these days.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be fun. Anyway, thank you for that, Luke Smale. Appreciate it. Hey, Brian, we got some headlines.
Yeah.
Extra, extra.
What a scoop!
So, hey, here's some news. Avatar: Fire and Ash. It is making. Let me see here. All the money.
What?
Just all of it. Yeah.
Now I'm spitting out my coffee.
I gotta be honest, Brian. I don't think Avatar has had any cultural impact.
It just took. Obviously, I think you're joking. It took all this time for us to realize what its cultural impact was, which is it will get everybody to the theaters.
Yep, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, well, I realized that after the second one. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here, But yes, Avatar: Fire and Ash is now, and these are the numbers at deadline as of 2 days ago. It's reached an estimated 760.4 million through Sunday globally.
So in 2 weeks, it's made almost $1 billion.
Exactly.
2
right?
weeks.
So it says here 542.7 is from international, so it's doing quite well. So I mean, look, realistically, we're looking at a baseline of 1.5 billion.
I mean, in a day and age where a Marvel movie can't even make $500 million.
That's right.
That's insane. And that's not necessarily a criticism of Marvel. I'm just saying how things have changed.
Yeah.
Box office has changed. Tastes have, changed a little bit. And it's wild. Avatar, James Cameron, let's say, endures.
I think so. I mean, I think that the brand at this point has come to signify a specific kind of theatrical experience.
Yeah.
And people show up for it. And Cameron has said that the third one needed to meet X benchmark. I forget what it was specifically in order for 4 and 5 to be made. And he said that it's a package deal. Like if they're doing 4, they have to do 5. Mm. I think Disney will be more than happy to let him do 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Sam Worthington and company feel like doing it for much longer.
I wonder, but what is a little bit of a benefit for the studio is a lot of the stuff that had to be created now exists.
It's like a sunk cost.
Yeah, right. You've got the technology, you've got a lot of the environments, so maybe you can bring the budget down slightly as you
sure, yeah,
forging ahead.
I think what he said is that the next story would follow a time jump.
Oh, right.
So presumably Jake Sully and Neytiri, et cetera, would not be as prominent.
Yeah, because he said he has filmed a lot of the first act of the 4th movie because he needed the kids at a certain age.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's kind of interesting. Look, I mean, I think in our Avatar review episode, I said I liked the third one just fine. I wouldn't say it blew my hair back. Mm-hmm. But I think you liked it more than me. Yeah. But I had a satisfying theatrical experience, and that's what I want from these movies. Mm-hmm. So I'll watch 4 and 5, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it, but the ending gets a little repetitive. The ending feels a lot like the ending of the second one, and a few too many things are left unresolved, which is kind of a bummer. But the first 2/3, at least, I mean. Just new concepts introduced. That villain, Varang, was really interesting. And the way that she and Quaritch teamed up was a little different and interesting. And getting even a glimpse.
The internet has certainly fallen in love with Varang.
Dude, it was funny because you and I were both basically are we going to admit that we had a crush on her? Wait, okay. Yeah, we had a crush on Varang as we were watching Avatar 3, in our review. And then every podcast I've listened to afterward was just so Varang. I'm like, okay, so it's not just us.
It wasn't just us.
But she was a whole new energy that was kind of interesting. I mean, and it made me see that these stories don't necessarily need to just be repetitive. Where it's and then they find a new village and everyone's kind of cool, and then the military attacks, and then it's a bummer, and then they fight back. What kind of problems do their other tribes pose? And also I love the idea of Jake being seen as kind of a terrorist to humans. I want to dig more into that and Earth and the situation they're in and why they're going so hard on Pandora and what they need there. This movie to me made me think, okay, there are more things I was a little worried it was going to get repetitive with 2.
Right.
And I feel like 3 posed a bunch of new things that I found interesting and made me think for the first time, like, oh, well, give me 4. I'm ready. So
here's my question, and I'm going to phrase it in a way that avoids spoilers. Would you be in favor, would you be not opposed to Stephen Lang coming back in the next one?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, is it kind of like, okay,
again with
yes,
this guy?
a little like, are we just like repeating over and over? Kind of, maybe, but you know what? He is very captivating. And
I think you lose something valuable by not having him. That's my opinion.
Exactly. I mean, he brings a great antagonistic energy. Is it silly at this point? Maybe it has a lot to do also with that I'm not really that invested in these stories. Like, I don't mind that it's a lot of broad story beats and broad character types and whatever. Like, it's just enough for me to be plugged into this incredible experience.
Right.
Maybe I'd be more critical about it if it was a Star Wars movie or something where I'm like more invested and passionate about it. But no, I mean, I think his energy is a component that I enjoy in Avatar movies. So
yeah.
You?
Well, yeah, I just going back to what I said before, I think that there's room in the story to see him back.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be a shame to lose his specific energy.
Totally.
Well, while we're talking about the success of Avatar, I thought this is an article in Variety looking at the studio report card for the year.
Okay.
In terms of which studios did well and which didn't. I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to wrap up the year with.
Yeah.
So Disney had the biggest success of the year.
All right. No surprises?
No surprise. Although they had a lot of not successes. So kind of big. They took the most swings, the biggest swings.
Yeah. And they're capable of it.
They got the bottom line to do that. So Lilo and Stitch made more than $1 billion.
Yeah.
Zootopia 2, more than $1 billion.
That's crazy. That's at like, I mean, it's so quickly. I think it's at like $1.5 billion or something, right? Worldwide.
Zootopia 2, yeah, $1.3 billion against $150 million budget.
Wow. Amazing.
Did you see that? I can't remember.
No, I mean to. It's. There's been other things more pressing for me, but I will watch it. I will get to it.
It's a good one. I liked it.
Yeah.
Freakier Friday did pretty well.
I'm glad.
Now, Freakier Friday to me is the type of swings they should be taking because I thought the movie was whatever, but $42 million budget, $153 million return.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when that was normal? Remember that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then of course Avatar: Fire and Ash, which has made $500 million so far domestically.
Yeah.
$250 million plus, which sounds remarkably frugal for a James Cameron movie.
Wow, I have a hard time believing that actually.
I think it goes to those sunk costs that you were talking about.
That's true.
Now on the lows, this is for Disney. We got 3 strikes for Marvel.
Ooh.
Captain America: Brave New World. It only made $415 million. Budget $180 million. Of course, Thunderbolts that performed even worse than that. And Fantastic Four had roughly the same. I think it was like $200 million budget. Made a little over $500 million. So this is the world we're in, right? Like to me, this is actually helpful information. Like we're finding sort of the new baseline for Marvel.
Right.
So spend accordingly.
Right. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Thunderbolts, it seems to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, seems like people just stepped right over that one.
Yeah, which is too bad because I know both you and I liked it.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody who's seen it or who ends up checking it out, oh, that's the best movie Marvel did this year. That's what pretty much everybody's saying.
Yeah.
So I feel like, we got this hype for Avengers Doomsday. I feel like that's going to give people an opportunity to go back and see the ones they missed. And I feel like Thunderbolts is just like waiting to be discovered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Snow White. Remember that movie?
Dude, I completely forgot that was this year.
It feels like 50 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like it was released before the animated Snow White. $250 million budget, which what are you thinking? What are you thinking spending that on a Snow White movie?
Yeah, that is crazy.
It made 205 million, so that's a bad one.
That was one though where I haven't seen it. I have no opinion on it, but there was just so much negativity swirling around that thing even before they started rolling cameras. It was just, I don't know, that thing was doomed.
That I think it was doomed from multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
You had Rachel Ziegler and her comments about, she's not a damsel in distress. Well, that's pissing off X demographic. You got Gal Gadot pissing off Y demographic.
Right.
I mean, it was like they grew this movie in a lab to appeal to nobody.
Yeah. Well, and then remember, Peter Dinklage was saying that he didn't love that Disney was like going back to, let's hire little people and they're magical people who dig for diamonds. And so Disney was like, that's not what we're doing. What are you talking about there?
Let's make these computer generated homunculi.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what they did. And then it's like, well, they're not quite human and they're not quite like they're supposed to be these sort of mythical creatures, which is like, what? Like, that's sort of like the Crystal Skull space between space creatures. It's like, dude, they're friggin' aliens, man. Like,
well, my understanding is a lot of little people were like, bro, come on, man.
Like, that's work.
This work.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have an opinion on that, but yeah, but
I will gladly listen to Peter Dinklage say whatever he wants, because damned if that man does not have the most dulcet tones.
He does. Yeah.
I will listen to whatever he has.
Toxie? The Toxic Avenger?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
You?
I know. Nobody did. I mean, geez, it just kind of dropped.
I could see if I happened upon it, I'd be curious, but I don't know that it's like on my radar.
Continuing on, this is just Disney. Elio, Pixar's latest disappointment, $154 million against $150 million budget.
Yeah.
Pixar, man, they can't catch a break lately. It feels like they need Toy Story 5 the way Marvel needs Avengers Doomsday.
Perfect comparison. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Which I haven't watched Elio yet, and I still intend to, because I've heard it's not bad. Just somehow, I don't know. Just wasn't.
I think some of the magic dust has rubbed off of Pixar, unfortunately.
Yeah.
In the perception game, not in the quality game.
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, Tron Ares, remember that one?
I do.
I think you and I both walked out having enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I'd say like mixed positive.
Mixed positive.
Which, by the way, I just saw that's going to be streaming on Disney Plus in like a week.
Yeah, that's right. So that tells the tale right there. $180 million they spent on that movie, which is just absolute insanity.
I can't believe on a freaking Tron movie. That is insane.
Starring Jared Leto.
Okay, don't get me started. That's gonna be like my stand-up catchphrase. We've seen this, they're making a Tron Ares movie with $180 million budget. Jared Leto. Don't get me started. And everyone's like, ah.
You know what grinds my gears? Yeah. I remember I was talking to my son a couple months ago. I was like checking. I was on my phone and I was like, "Oh, look, they cast Skeletor in the He-Man movie." And he goes, "Watch it be like Jared Leto or somebody." And I was like, "You might want to sit down."
I don't know, man. This is one of those things where I like go so far in on it that I almost start to feel bad and be like, do I need to examine myself? Like, but I don't know him as a person. There's some, I'm not even going to go into that. I don't even want to spend the minutes, but like, really? For Skeletor? Oh, we've talked about this. I feel like there should have been someone with a slightly more comedic edge to them playing Skeletor. Not like Jim Carrey necessarily, but like, I don't know. He just doesn't feel right. He's kind of humorless, right?
Yeah, that's his whole persona.
Yeah, like so self-serious. And I just feel like Skeletor, I just want someone with a little more, like a twinkle in their eye.
Yeah, like Frank Langella brought something interesting to the
Like
character.
kind of a campiness
Yeah,
to
exactly.
it. Well, he was relishing in playing the villain.
Yeah, but the way I look at it, I mean, we're not relying on Jared Leto to carry the movie. So,
No, but obviously Skeletor shining in that movie would probably be a huge draw for it. I don't know.
that is true. Yeah.
Nah.
Real quick, just while we're talking about Disney, I thought this is interesting. Predator Badlands, which was perceived as a success, was not that successful.
I'm just looking at the numbers. This is fascinating because
Yeah.
I think of that movie as a win this year.
Yeah, $105 million budget, 181 million return. Now, I would say for what we got, 105 is pretty frugal.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Right. So this is an interesting one because I feel like it fell off pretty quick after the first weekend, which honestly is not terribly surprising because I don't I think there's there is a ceiling for the Predator franchise.
Yeah.
But and maybe this won't age well, but I think they invested in sort of the future of the franchise.
It does, yes, feel like they were trying to amass a new audience.
Yeah.
With this one.
So they probably earned some goodwill there. And this one, there's no future for Ella McKay. This is the new James L. Brooks joint.
Yeah.
$35 million budget. Hey, great. Except that it made $4 million at the box office.
Woof. Yeah, 30-ish. It's like, hey, well, good for there you go. That's what we're talking about. But then, yeah, 4 million. You and I, we're planning on catching this. Like
yes,
I
had hoped to.
Me too. And you know what? Wasn't playing.
Yeah, it disappeared instantly.
Yeah, and I mean, just to explain, because I think this movie's been, I don't know, dogged on, but I don't know. Maybe again, this could be my algorithm. Maybe the world isn't talking about it at all, but I'm seeing it mentioned a lot. And I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for a James L. Brooks movie about a plucky young woman who, against all odds, is trying to be a force for good in the world. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds kind of nice. So I am going to watch it whenever it's available somewhere.
I'd like to say I will, but it'll probably, once it hits streaming, that's the fastest way to ensure that it falls off my radar completely.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I thought it was going to be the opposite.
No,
I thought you were going to say once it hits Disney Plus, then it's like, oh, here we go. Okay, this is easy.
I mean, I'd love to say that, but I just forget. I forget stuff pretty quick.
No, I get it. I get it. Kind of like me and Elio. I kept talking about how I was going to watch it, and it's available in my home right now at the click of a button, and I still haven't watched it.
You're choosing to avoid it. Think about that. Think about what that says about you, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, real quick, I want to race through some of the other disappointments from the studios this year.
Yes.
This is Paramount Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
It made just under $600 million. Hey, that sounds great. But they spent $400 million making it.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointing to see Mission Impossible as a disappointment.
Yeah, I know.
Not surprised. 400 million. I mean, that's insanity. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, what are you going to do? Cancel the series? It's done now.
Yeah, right. And
So,
wasn't it made kind of as like two movies with the
I thought one? So, but didn't they basically? Wasn't that Dead Reckoning, and then they took a break?
I don't really know, but I know that was like there was COVID issues and all sorts of things they were working against.
Tom Cruise yelling at people. I guess that probably went into the budget somehow.
I remember that. I remember being with my family at Christmas time and playing that audio on my phone, and we're all like, "Ooh."
It's like, put on your damn masks, people.
Yeah, but I remember we were kind of like, well, look, he's just trying to save Hollywood.
He's single-handedly. He's trying to Ethan Hunt this thing. Come on,
right?
Roofman. Now you saw Roofman, right?
I liked Roofman. I recommend Roofman.
Roofman now on streaming. I am actually hoping to watch that in the next couple of days. $20 million budget. You'd think that's a good thing, but it only made $33 million. And I would chalk this up squarely to the marketing, which did not know how to sell this thing.
Yeah.
Positioned it as kind of a wacky comedy.
Yes. Yeah. Like we're having fun what would it be like to live in a Toys R Us? Yeah.
Yeah. and it's not that from what I hear.
I would call it like a real like human dramedy,
Okay.
but good. I liked it.
Yeah, a lot of people did. The Running Man, which I would say neither of us was blown away by.
Yeah, kind of mixed.
The world agreed with you. $105 million budget, $68 million return. Sounds about right. The only part that makes me feel bad is that Glenn Powell hosted SNL the weekend that this movie came out.
Right.
And he talked about how he flew out a UPS guy who he had met a few years ago when he thought he was hosting SNL. He made up a joke, and he's like, "I flew him out, Coach, because we don't know how Running Man is going to do." Ha ha ha! And then it's like, yeah, it didn't do well. Sorry, friend.
Yeah. Although that was maybe the best SNL episode this season so far.
I agree. Although I would say they've had a pretty decent year so far.
They've stepped up. I think at the beginning it was a little shaky, but they had a lot of new people, a lot of new writers.
Yeah,
and I feel like they're finding their footing for sure.
They've had some good ones. Yeah. Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So Caught Stealing. This is a movie we both liked.
Mm-hmm.
Did not catch an audience.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. $32 million for a return against a $40 million budget. This is unfortunately in our new streaming paradigm. This is one of those movies that gets discovered on streaming.
Yeah, I think for people who miss those kind of violent, fun 90s caper films, Caught Stealing is a great take on that.
Yeah. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. That's Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie.
Mm-hmm. Nobody
cared to go on that particular journey. There's no hook. I mean, there's no, other than to watch these two people.
It was, I saw that trailer probably more than any other trailer this year. Mm-hmm. And it does look whimsical and fantastical, but it is hard to know what's happening. I had actually read the script many months before it came out, so I kind of knew what it was. And I remember thinking, this feels like a movie that might have worked in the 90s. I don't know that this is going to hit now.
Interesting.
And my friend, who I go to the movies with a lot, he kept leaning over being like, they're dead, right? They're dead. And I was like, I'm just going to say it. They're not dead. So, but that just goes to show that it's not, the trailer wasn't very clear.
Yeah.
So it was going on vibes. Do you want to go on this sort of dippy, whimsical kind of journey? I guess people said no.
Not so much, yeah. Now, I think when we look at Sony's successes this year, we see kind of what we talk about in terms of smart strategy vis-a-vis budgets, because what we see is a lot of movies that did okay but didn't perform. That didn't cost much.
Right.
So, things like Karate Kid Legends, it made $117 million against a $45 million budget.
Wow.
Well, that's what you do.
That's
right?
what you do. That's what you do.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. It cost $18 million. It made about $65 million.
Wow.
That's what you do. Right?
Yep.
Now, that said, Demon Slayer Infinity Circle, you talk about some of the biggest ROI. $20 million this movie cost. $664 million it has made.
Wow. Amazing.
That's what you do.
That's been kind of the interesting thing I've been noticing post-COVID on my, my Regal app is I'll recognize half of the movies and the other half I don't.
Oh yeah.
There'll be like, Indian films and there'll be like anime and these things. Then you look at the box office for the weekend and those things are crushing.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I actually think the box office is healing to some extent based on the types of things that are doing well.
Yeah.
The wide variety of things. So this is not a completely doom and gloom list, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Looking at Universal stuff that didn't work, Wolfman, which neither of us liked.
Yeah. Cost
$25 million, did not make a ton beyond that, $34 million. So once you factor in marketing and stuff, that's a loss. Megan 2.0, which you liked, as I recall, right?
I saw the first one. I haven't seen two. First one, I went with friends, and it was like, "What was that?" with a smile on our faces. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would call the reaction to that. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, and I could see people loving the character and like, let's do 10 of these. So it was shocking then that this one just completely died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no interest in it.
Well, and I think a lot of people are pointing out that they seem to switch genres.
Right.
Where people enjoyed it as this like horror movie in the first one, you know, where it's like this doll who loves this girl and will kill anyone to protect her. And then part 2, it's like she's wearing like a Ghost in the Shell kind of outfit, and like, you know, it's like she's good now, and it looks very futuristic, Tron-like actually.
Right.
And people are like, nah.
So swing and a miss there. However, How to Train Your Dragon was a massive, massive hit. The live action remake.
Oh wow! Looking at that number,
$636 million, $150 million budget. So presumably they'll just remake the rest of that trilogy.
Why not?
Right? If you make that much, I'm somewhat surprised by that because I thought those movies were too recent.
Yeah.
And I guess this explains why they're doing that Moana. You know,
that was literally what came to mind. Yeah.
It's like people are going to turn up.
Yeah.
Jurassic World Rebirth. Hey, you can't go wrong with these Jurassic movies.
Holy cow. Yeah.
$868 million return, $180 million budget. That's what you spend.
Dude. There you go. Bravo.
Right. That you keep it under 200 million, you will make a profit on that.
Yeah.
On that movie. And they are already working on. They're doing it.
Work at least for now.
For now, yeah.
In this moment, those things. Wow, almost $1 billion. Wow.
Yeah. They are already working on the sequel to Jurassic World Rebirth, so that's a coming.
Yeah.
ScarJo, etc. The new trio.
I was just gonna say, yeah, this was kind of like a reboot of sorts.
Yeah.
New characters, whatever.
Soft reset, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Black Phone 2. Although my sense is people didn't particularly like Black Phone 2, but it made $132 million. It only cost $30 million.
Wow. Oh, you know, I don't know if I talked about it on the show. I did see it, and I wasn't crazy about it.
Yeah. Well, you seems you speak for the masses there.
Yeah. I like the first one though.
You also speak for the masses there.
You know what? Just a really quick anecdote. I saw it in the theater, and this family sat next to me, and the dad is like coughing like a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, great. You know, like I got to sit next and I'm like, I have a water bottle. So I like move the water bottle to the other side. And then he's like hacking. And then at one point I look over and his family has moved away from him, but he's still next to me.
Dude,
and I was
just
like,
leave, man.
I don't know. So I will admit that was factored into my experience.
That colored your experience.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I remember reading that some people saying people who like the first one may not like the second one, and people like the second one may have not been fans of the first one. They're a little different in story.
Well, perfect.
Style.
That's what you want to do with your sequels.
Yeah, ask Megan 2.0.
Yeah.
But yeah, I preferred the first one.
Okay. Wicked for Good ended up clearing almost $500 million.
Yeah, I'm sure they were expecting a little more, but still.
Hey, you know what? I think the upside for Universal on this is you got your DVD 2-pack or your digital bundle that you're going to be selling forever.
I saw it's dropping this week.
Is it already on streaming? Really?
Yeah, streaming. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Still, in this economy, you know what? I think that is unequivocally a win.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2, $206 million against a $36 million budget.
Wow,
man. Although that is like a big drop from the first one, right? Or am I misremembering?
I don't know. Actually, I do remember that one performing like wildly well.
Yeah, like nobody expected it to do that well.
But that's so brilliant. $36 million, and then
that's what you spent.
Yeah, and by the way, that one is streaming also already, which is crazy.
As of like today?
As of like last week.
Oh wow!
Yeah, wow. So that was a fast turnaround for them. But
and then let's just round off this discussion real quick. Warner Brothers, ouch! Mickey 17 made $133 million against $118 million budget, and I say, oh,
yeah, that was like a cool, original, fun, wacky sci-fi thing.
I think we both liked it. Just it was doing something different. Bong Joon-ho.
Mm-hmm. Although I would have been like, can we get it to 90?
Right.
Under 100.
Probably spent more than they should have. One Battle After Another, very beloved movie, but not. We at the San Francisco Critics, we gave it our movie of the year. $204 million against $140 million budget. That movie should not have cost $140 million.
Agreed. Agreed.
There's no
Although,
reason.
wow, yeah, it did. I mean, I know there's marketing and all those things to factor in, but like, I'm amazed that movie made as much money as it did.
That's good word of mouth.
Mhm.
So you spend 90 on that, and you know you're doing okay.
Oh,
The
sure,
Alto
sure.
Nights. Did you see that one?
I don't even know what that is.
That's where Robert De Niro plays like dual roles.
No, I'm Googling it. The Alto Night. This was a theatrical thing?
Yeah.
Holy cow, no.
Really?
No. Deborah Messing?
Yeah, it's Barry Levinson.
Wow. No, I missed this one.
Well, there you go. If it flew under your radar, that tells you something, right?
Yeah.
So this one completely flamed out. There's no rescuing how well listed. $10 million taken in against $50 million budget.
Oof.
Now, Warner Brothers, I have to say, this year compared to last, they did a lot better because Minecraft made almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Superman, right, $600 million.
Mm-hmm.
Although that one, I mean, it cost 225, so I'm sure they hoped it would have done better.
Sure.
But I think they can file that in the win. Weapons, 268 million. It only cost 38 million to make.
Wow. Oh, amazing.
Final Destination Bloodlines, 315 million. Cost 50 million.
Wow. That was like a big hit.
It did well. The only thing I've seen is the MRI scene, and I think I'm good, frankly.
Yeah. Oh man, you haven't seen the garbage truck scene? Oh,
I haven't, but I feel like after we get off, I'm going to get on YouTube now and look for that. Probably. Yeah.
I will say, for anyone who's seen it, it's very gross. But I saw somewhere on Instagram or something that it was a practical effect. I was like, cool. Like
The garbage.
Yeah, the garbage truck thing. Okay. And I was like, I love that. Maybe that's why it was so effective.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So compared to last year, we forgot the F1. F1 did pretty well too.
Oh damn, yeah. 631 million against 250.
I think F1 is like the biggest hit of Brad Pitt's career.
Yeah, maybe.
That's like that's just a Brad Pitt movie, you know?
And I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about it. Seems like
that is true.
Had hit every quadrant and everyone seemed to enjoy it.
And it scratched all the itches.
Yep.
So that one did well. That was a co-production with Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So kind of a fascinating scorecard for movies this summer, or this year. Excuse me, this past year. Yeah.
I enjoyed this actually. Looking back.
Well, we do have some new releases. Do we want to discuss those?
Oh, let's do it.
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
All right, Brian, dealer's choice. What do you want to do first here?
Maybe Anaconda.
Yeah.
Because that's the easier one. I mean, to not spoil.
There's an anaconda in this movie?
Yeah.
So Anaconda, this is the well, what is this? What do we call this?
You know what? When I heard this concept, I was like, brilliant, honestly. Yeah. Because we've been long living in the age of reboots and IP at all costs, and everything having to be based on something, even if it's just a name only. And that's kind of, yeah.
Well, and just before you finish, clearly there was some degree of excitement for this film, be it because of the franchise or because of the stars, because my wife and we went Christmas Day and that joint was packed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's
and it did
purely anecdotal.
Okay, right? Probably not as much as they would have wanted, but I mean, against Avatar and all these other things, it did. I mean, for being like a comedy, which
you're right?
Like, again, this would probably sadly go under the lows column for the studio, right. But like, it still did make some money, I feel.
Yeah, and I don't think it cost very much.
Yeah.
So I think they'll end up doing okay. It made $22 million its first weekend. I don't know what the budget is, but we can look that up, I'm sure. It cost $45 million. It'll probably top out a little under 100, I suspect.
Really?
I mean, globally, if we factor in.
Globally, yeah, sure.
Not domestically.
Yeah.
It made 22 in its first weekend, right? So let's say double that domestic.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say I think that it has a great premise that I don't feel like the movie really lived up to.
Yes.
I found the movie very adequate.
Yeah.
Right? I think there was a real opportunity to do something. So the premise here is that Paul Rudd and Jack Black play two guys who hope to become successes in Hollywood, and then just sort of real life got in the way.
Yeah, like as young kids.
As
right?
young kids. Yeah, like when you and I were first met and we were like making, short films and things like that.
Totally, yeah.
And they just loved Anaconda from 97, right? And so they're like, "Oh, let's remake Anaconda." This is in the trailer. And to me, I think I was hoping for something a little more subversive, something kind of in the vein of The Interview or something like that,
Totally. Oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Right. And the same studio, by the way. And what we got, like, I would say I chuckled many times. There was probably one or two times where I laughed out loud.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, the movie, it doesn't really stay with you, and it really relies on just the fact that we like Paul Rudd, we like Jack Black. They are funny together, and that's nice.
I could literally just co-sign everything you said, and we could like, although I would say I might have had a slightly more positive feeling about it.
Yeah.
Repeating literally everything you just said. And I think that comes from the trailers did nothing for me.
Here's the problem, though. You know what they did do? They gave away at least one awesome gag that did not. Right.
That would have been so funny if we hadn't seen that.
Yes. Right? Yes. I think we're talking about the same thing. Yeah.
Probably. So for me, I was like, I love this idea.
Yeah.
Like it's an Anaconda sequel. Well, it isn't a sequel. It's just about these guys who want to remake Anaconda.
It's like Blair Witch 2, where the first Blair Witch is a movie in the universe.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, man, I keep feeling like these trailers should be funnier than they are, especially, I like Jack Black and Paul Rudd a lot.
Yeah.
And so my friend and I, we decided to do a double feature. So we did Anaconda and Marty Supreme in one day. And Anaconda for me was like, all right, that's just like the warm up, and then we'll, whatever. So for me, walking away, like, is this a good movie? Not exactly. Did I have fun? More than I expected.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Like, I thought the movie is funnier than the trailers let on.
Yeah. I'll let you finish, but yeah. My thought is it actually got less interesting to me once the Anaconda showed up.
Dude, same. I actually was like, I wouldn't mind if this leaned more into like these two guys. Well, this isn't, I don't know. Is it a spoiler? Let's just say we're going to go like mid-ish spoilers on this, but I don't think it's going to ruin anyone's experience watching this.
Yeah.
But yes, of course, like they have to, a real snake gets involved, and then they also get involved in some sort of like, I don't know, like, is it diamonds or something, or gold?
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Like
it's not, no, it's gold. It's
gold. Yeah. Like, these real life bad guys that get mixed up with them. And I was like, this is the most 90s thing that ever 90'd, like kind of like Dumb and Dumber, right? Where it's like, you got this fun road trip adventure, but it's like, and then you've got to throw in some sort of like plot. So it's like, oh, and then these guys want a briefcase full of money and they're killers and they bump up against our bad guys when we need it. Because that French woman, I thought she could have been so much more interesting.
The Daniela Melchior character?
Yeah. Like she's
French, right?
I heard her swear in French. That's why I thought she was French.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, but you're right.
Like she is an interesting plot element that I don't know that I really cared about, but it did like bring about some action. But she just kind of stands by for a lot of the time she's on screen. And I was like, maybe she actually starts caring about her close-up. Maybe she like give her a little bit more of a personality as she's being involved with these sorts of things. And I think that might've helped a little bit. Anyway, but so this, for me, I laughed a little bit more than I expected. Although, just like you, I'd say I chuckled more and had a couple laugh out loud moments.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this felt like a disposable movie.
Very disposable.
Well, it's like something you would have rented in the 90s.
Absolutely.
On a Friday night and went, okay. Like, what was the second movie we rented? And I actually don't even mean that in a completely negative way. Like, I think for people who like Jack Black and Paul Rudd, set your expectations when this thing, is streaming and it's a Friday night and you're looking for something. It's going to make you chuckle a couple times and you will forget it the minute it's over. You know what I mean?
There's an authenticity to the front end that I really plugged into, right? That sense of like, where Jack Black, he edits wedding videos and
yes.
And he just looks at like I wish I had done this, and his boss is like, this is a B plus life. Like you should be happy, right? And I'm like, man, if that doesn't speak to like everybody in their mid 40s,
totally. I mean, and maybe too, we could relate to a lot of this.
Oh, for sure.
We've shot weddings. We have, filmmaking ambitions and dreams. And like, so I was really I loved it. I was very excited about seeing these people like not give up on something and go all out and even go to the middle of the jungle.
See, okay, so this is where it loses me, right? Because it's this comedic point. You see this in the trailer where they're trying to get a loan to get this movie made, and they're targeting like 2 million, and they end up with like 500,000 or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, these ragtag would-be filmmakers. They've never made a movie. They get $500,000 loan, whatever it is. And their first thought is, let's go to the Amazon and shoot. Like you go right there. You don't try to find a location near you that would approximate that, Right.
Like you would try to like hijack the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland or something.
Right. That your first thought would not be, let's go actually shoot in the middle of the jungle with a crew of 4 people, So
no, I can't disagree.
Like to me that's where my brain goes. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense just from basic, like just I understand your comedic intent, but comedy has to be rooted in some kind of reality.
Well, and also it really shows you what they actually want to do. They just want to throw Paul Rudd and Jack Black on the Amazon.
Yeah. So there's a way to get us there. Like to me, if you're going with your initial premise, then it's you're shooting somewhere local and somehow an anaconda got loose.
Yes, because you wouldn't have expected it.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's like, maybe that's a small thing, but to me, that was like, as I'm watching, I'm like, wait a minute, right? But even still, like to me, the meta humor, I appreciated what they were going for more than what they pulled off, because it never fully landed for me.
Yeah, even there's kind of a surprise in the third act.
So, and I have to say, I leaned over to my wife. I was like, I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, so and so is going to show up.
See, and the problem is, this is a move we've seen a lot.
That's right.
So I wasn't as like, oh wow, how novel.
Yeah.
It just, like you said, it's almost kind of expected.
Yep.
But at the same time, like if you go in, it just sounds so funny, but like no expectations, you just like these guys and you want to see them.
I watch it for Jack Black and Paul Rudd, and I suspect you'll leave, having enjoyed it. And
I did like the conceit a lot. Even like you said, the first act, I mean, I really did. I was rooting for their dreams. And them getting to try this and actually being like, we're out here, we're doing this. I was like, yeah. And then I found myself at odds where there was part of me that did kind of want a movie that was about these guys trying against all odds to make a movie.
Yeah.
But then it has to do these other things. Yeah. Like the gold smugglers or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it ends up being like, just fine.
There's a very funny thing. It's like a runner, but the way they execute it, involving Steve Zahn peeing.
Oh yeah,
which I thought was very funny.
Yeah,
and then going back to what we were alluding to before, there's a joke involving Jack Black and a pig.
Yeah.
which was hilarious.
Yes.
But they put that in the trailer,
Yeah.
and I was infuriated by that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like actively mad.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably one of the funniest reveals or whatever set pieces in the film. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've already seen all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and
yeah.
there's. I'm trying to remember. So there. I will say this. There was. They have a cameo that we just talked about, and which I called, and my wife was like, "Oh, what about so and so?" And I was like, and literally I lean over, I'm like, "Here's what's going to happen," and almost exactly that's what happened.
Yeah, and that one felt a little bit like they accidentally saw that person walking down the street and happened to have a camera, and we're like, "What should I do?" Like, I don't know, just find it. We have 5 minutes. Go. I was like, I wish they could have rung a little bit. I mean, amazing, kind of, like, and I wish it felt a little underwhelming.
Yeah,
to me,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you felt, but
I just thought it was. I was just sort of amused that I was right so specifically.
Right.
So I was taking the win from that.
You know what I will say I appreciated about it was I liked its style. I've been talking about how I feel like I'm beginning to identify why a lot of modern movies and streaming movies generally just feel so lifeless to me. And it has a lot to do with them not knowing exactly what's going to happen after visual effects are added. So the lighting tends to be more flat.
Yeah.
Like, we'll fix it in post. We'll add more shadows in post. Like, maybe the sun's over here. Maybe it's over there. We don't know. So you end up with something that just feels lifeless.
Yeah.
And versus someone actually out in a location and real shadows on the creases of their faces,
Yeah.
And I love that this movie, the way that it was shot like anamorphic, like it looked like kind of an Anaconda movie. So the comedy was playing out in a way that felt more grounded versus something that was light and bouncy and no shadows. And you know what I mean? Like, I appreciated that decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, anything that makes the film we're watching look like a film, I'm all about.
Certainly that, but even just for this story, like the stakes feel slightly more, I mean, for as much as they can in this movie, but just slightly more realistic, and I thought that makes the comedy funnier.
Right.
Versus just like if everything was on some sort of like brightly lit wide angle lens, it's a comedy. Like, I don't think it would have been as funny to me. But seeing these people in what the movie's trying to be like, this is real and this is dangerous, and seeing them behave the way they do, like, made the comedy funnier for me.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's so funny because it's like I feel like every compliment I give it, I have to be like, that said, but it was funnier than the trailers led me to believe. And when my friend and I, when we were walking out, we're like, huh, okay, well, that was kind of fun. And then we just moved on.
That's the thing. I did laugh, but it didn't really stay with me.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I didn't realize that there are like 4 Anaconda movies between this one and the 97 one.
I had no idea.
I had no idea either. Yeah. Actually, there's actually a Chinese remake too. So
wow. Okay.
I guess that counts too. There's look at this. 10 years ago, there was Lake Placid versus Anaconda.
Give that guy a raise, whoever
right?
came up with that one.
Now that to me is not that exactly, but like presumably that involves an anaconda being loose stateside.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I think that's the movie that you make and you put Paul Rudd and Jack Black in the middle of.
Yeah, I mean, that would be if the movie was more about, because do you remember that story many years ago about those kids that did a shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark?
That's right.
I mean, I feel like that had to be a little bit of an inspiration for this. And
right.
just because of our stories, I think I was interested and invested in that aspect of the story. Like these guys, even if they didn't, get things right on their first swing, they're willing to take a second swing at their dreams.
Right.
And if it had leaned more into that part of it, like we're going to make a movie,
Yeah.
we're going to remake Anaconda. Yeah. Then I think you could have had more fun with how difficult that is.
Right.
Well, we can't afford to actually go to the Amazon, so we've got to find the nearest approximation. And oh my gosh, there's a real snake here and that kind of thing. But that's not what this movie is. This movie's more like, I mean, it is.
Right.
And I did like those elements of it, but it is more about like, how can we get them out to this specific crazy location? And
the other thought I had is that the movie that they were making wasn't particularly good.
Like Paul Rudd, he's playing a guy who he's an actor.
Right.
And when we see him, it feels like a B movie they're making.
Right.
Like his acting, it's not like he feels like he's some sort of like untapped talent that missed his shot. Like he's not super great when we see him acting.
Right. But I mean, even the scenes that they play, right? Because the characters are like, oh, to Jack Black's character, oh, this script is amazing, whatever. Mm-hmm. And what we see is not particularly impressive.
Right.
So that to me is another factor where I'm kind of like, well, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. Maybe you just don't show us any of what they're making. And all you show is the before and the after.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that what the movie they've made is like, because by implication, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. They screen it eventually.
Right.
It seems like people are enjoying it.
So it's a little bit like Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, the Sorkin's SNL type show.
Yeah.
Where whenever they would show the sketches, you'd be like, oh, that's pretty terrible.
Right.
Maybe you just don't show us what they're making.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I feel like if they hadn't, I would want to see it.
Well, you show us, they're rehearsing scenes, but not enough for us to get a real sense of what's going on. Like they do that.
Yeah.
But every time we see footage, it's like kind of cheesy.
Right.
And, the dialogue, at one point, Tandy Newton's like doing like Jennifer Love Hewitt, in I Know What You Did Last Summer, like, come get me or whatever, and it's,
right.
It's funny,
Yeah.
But it's not meant to be funny.
Right.
I don't know. That's just a random thought.
Yeah.
Well, hey, here's another movie about never giving up on your dreams.
Yeah.
No matter what. So
costs, yeah.
so Marty Supreme is in theaters, and look, man, I watched this yesterday. So this is Monday afternoon. Granted, it is in between Christmas and New Year's, but I think for a lot of people it's a work day. Packed theater again.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too. My friend and I were like, this feels like 15 years ago.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's made me feel good. I did wonder how awkward do you think the Safdie Christmas dinner was this year? You got we didn't talk about this in the flop section, but The Smashing Machine, directed by Benny Safdie, that was Dwayne Johnson's big Oscar play. It made all of nothing.
Really, really underperformed.
So the Safdie brothers go their separate ways. One of them ends up with a clear end of year contender. One of them ends up with a clear also ran.
Isn't that like so unfortunate? Like if this had been spread out a little bit further, maybe it would have blunted it a bit. But these are months apart and like quantifiable. It just, it kind of makes me feel bad.
Timothée Chalamet, bigger draw than Dwayne Johnson. Who'd have thunk?
Oh, yeah, well, that's interesting.
So I should say we'll get to our thoughts, but one experience I had is by the end of the movie, my forearm was sore.
Oh, really?
And my fingers were scratched because my wife kept grabbing my hand. And at one point I went, ow! Because throughout this movie that she was completely tense.
You know what's funny? I literally had no idea what this movie was about.
Oh, same.
When I went into it. And my friend Michael reached out and said, it's kind of like Uncut Gems, generalizing what he said. And I was like, what? Like I was not expecting that at all. Which I shouldn't be surprised. That's kind of the Safdie energy, right?
Right.
But I didn't realize I was stepping into something that was going to be anxiety inducing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a trailer for this. Because I knew it was one I wanted to see, and I was like, I just want to go in completely cold and talk about the best way to experience, really any movie, but certainly a movie like this.
Totally agree.
What a delight, honestly. Like I walked out, like literally the movie ended, and I went, whew, like,
Yep.
Give me a movie that just takes me on a journey, an emotional journey, an actual journey, all of it. Give me a character that is as aggressively unlikable as this guy and make me like him.
Right.
And it definitely did that.
Maybe not even necessarily like him, but like I am not repelled by him.
Yeah.
Like
there you go.
Or he's not a great guy, but his tenacity.
You can admire that,
or like it was just,
begrudgingly.
Yeah, that, or like it was just endlessly entertaining to me.
Yeah,
like I didn't find myself like wanting to like, oh, I'm enough of this guy. I was just like, what is he going to do next?
That was to me. That's the win. Is 2/3 of the way through. You're not like, God, enough.
Yeah.
Because I really the movie ended. I was like, I still don't know what I think of the guy.
Mm-hmm. This we will need to get into spoilers.
We will, yeah. But I think in terms of really creating a fascinating portrait of this person and putting us in his shoes to the extent that we understand his desire, even if we don't understand the specifics of his, well, it's about ping pong, so you can say that. I didn't think it was possible to be that invested in ping pong as this person is.
Yeah, sure.
But they say, well, I respect the hustle. I'm kind of there,
Mm-hmm.
So at no point did I know what was going to happen next.
No.
So it's the opposite of what was happening with Anaconda.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best feeling.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, we should say for people who haven't seen this, I'll just read it off of. Oh no, this is too general on IMDb. Basically, it's about a guy who's really good at ping pong, and he will do whatever it takes to raise money so he can get to a tournament in Japan.
That's it.
He's the greatest ping pong player in the world.
That's all you need to know.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of ping pong in this movie, and it was really good and compelling. But this is not the sports movie you think it is.
No.
That makes it sound like, I should say.
Right.
This is about a hustler, and he just continues to use people and scam people. And
I mean, it's like he has scams built atop scams. It's like a Jenga tower.
And we're just going from moment to moment where maybe this scam will work out, but this one doesn't, and not in a way you could have ever imagined.
Exactly.
And so he's got to pivot, and he keeps pivoting, and he keeps, like, against all odds, charming people, but then figuring out how he can capitalize on having charmed that person, all to reach his goals.
Right. And so the movie ends, and I'm like, good Lord, maybe a B+ life ain't so bad.
Right.
Right. We got to go through all this, all the emotional turmoil. But what's interesting is, like, I remember being, the character's 23 in the movie. I'm like, I remember being that age and just wanting everything,
Sure.
And you can under, like, that kernel of a thing, like, you're young and you don't believe you can be stopped.
Sure.
Because you are the best, because life throws roadblocks in your way, and eventually you moderate your own expectations of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a guy who's like, no matter what, I'm going to prove this. If not, it's really about proving it to himself ultimately.
Yeah, and also, I mean, all the way through to the last second of the movie, that was when it really, I feel like I understood what it was about. When it's about legacy.
That's right.
And someone's just passionate about legacy at all costs.
Yeah, that's right.
And we can get into that in specifics, but like, just, kind of interesting. Like it's funny how much he believes in himself, and it's really annoying, but like it does work a lot of the time. Like he is very good at ping pong. He does charm a Hollywood actress. Like he, you know, like, so you can see why he's confident, but it's interesting too, because he's surrounded.
He even wins over the Shark Tank guy, for goodness sake.
Dude, he was so good in this, wasn't he?
I was surprised. I was like, is that because I missed his name in the credits. I was like, wait a minute.
It took me a scene or two until I realized who it was.
Yeah.
And if I would be convinced he's been acting his whole life.
Kudos to Josh Safdie for the unconventional casting, because not just Kevin O'Leary, but Abel Ferrara, a famous director who has like a key role in this movie and is very good.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, Tyler, the creator, and who's Odessa?
Zion, I believe.
Zion?
Yeah, she's the daughter of Pamela Adlon. I didn't know that, but she looks like her.
Who voices Bobby Hill.
Yes, that's right.
Isn't that crazy? So Bobby Hill has a daughter, and she's incredible in this movie. But no, like all the characters are so interesting in this movie. And like you said, it's cast so well. And these people feel like real people you could encounter. And they're all kind of doing their own little hustles and scams. Like it's just, you know, at one point I remember Marty says something about like, this is the world I come from.
Yeah.
You know, where you got to like scrap like this to get by, and you kind of see it firsthand. Like everyone's even one of the first scenes in the movie, his mom is kind of scamming him on the phone, pretending like she's sick, you know, like this is the environment he comes from. And it's interesting seeing all these people doing this, all this crazy stuff, and how they get through it, or, you know, something goes wrong. And so they pivot, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Chalamet, this year we had Caught Stealing, which I said to me was like revelatory in terms of really showcasing Austin Butler.
Yeah.
I think this to me did something very similar with Chalamet, although I've seen more of his stuff in the past, where I'm like, there is a bright crop of new young actors coming up who are doing some great stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I think both of these guys have been pretty smart in terms of picking these types of projects that are off the beaten path, you know, and like we were talking about Caught Stealing. Well, the movie didn't do well, but anybody who watches is going to be like, I want this guy in my movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think Chalamet is a little bit further along in his career because he's a producer on this as well. But I mean, you know, it's a tailor-made, you know, Academy showcase kind of performance. But I think what he does so well is that it's not showy in kind of a you know, in a bad comparison, but it's not showy in like a Smashing Machine way, where I just feel like he disappears into it, where you forget, oh, this is that handsome, you know, that heartthrob, because he really there are points where you're like, you know, in his scenes with Gwyneth Paltrow, where you're like, what does she see in him? You know?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Right, like in terms of just to look at, he's you know, he's kind of, they give him like a rat face, you know.
I was just gonna say Mousy, and his name is Marty Mauser. Yeah,
exactly. You know, based on inspired by a real person, which I didn't realize, Marty Reisman.
Yeah, I
didn't realize that, but I was reading an interview with Gwyneth Paltrow where she was doing a scene with him, and I guess in between takes, she's like, you know, she's giving him tips on how to get rid of his pockmarks.
Oh.
And he's like, no, this is makeup.
Oh, that's it.
He's like, no, I'm beautiful. What are you talking about?
Well, I hope the makeup person was took the compliment. Like, hey,
yeah, I mean, because that like thin mustache that he has and everything, you're like, this guy is very unpleasant to look at.
Yeah, he's mousy, you know, and he behaves in a way. You know, I was a little. I hadn't seen any reviews, nothing. Like I went into this movie like completely cold. Yeah. And afterwards I've seen a lot of positive things, and I've also seen some people not love it because they just don't want to spend time with a character like this, like a person who hurts everybody in his path and continues to get his way. And I was like, I understand that. Like I could see where if a character like that might put you off, I could see that reaction. But for me, the fact that I he was annoying me.
Yeah.
And I didn't like how he hurt people, but I always wanted to see what was going to happen next, you know? And
Right.
like I said, his tenacity was endlessly entertaining to me. And I do like where this movie ended up.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So I want to acknowledge that perspective because I've seen it a little bit. You know, also Gwyneth Paltrow, speaking of, I mean, I guess the last 10 years she hasn't done a ton. Like she's done the Marvel stuff, but like I was like, Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah. You know, like she's playing this character and it suits her. Like she's bringing a little bit of the Gwyneth to it, but she did also feel like her own sort of thing in this world. And I thought she was a really interesting character.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It was a good performance from her.
It was. And I think that the movie excels by virtue of the fact that it's told sort of episodically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there is sort of like a broader narrative we're following, but it's it's like Marty dipping into this situation and then moving from that to this situation, you know? And so it's like we get several episodes with Paltrow's character interspersed throughout.
Right.
And I think that arc, having that gap between each of these episodes, so to speak, allows us to really see her character in a fuller way.
Completely agree.
You know,
and just replaying the movie in my mind now, also, like I really appreciated how vivid and realized the world and the time felt.
Yeah,
you know, that time period and just like the shoe shop, you know, and all the boxes just look kind of old and, you know, like it felt very lived in this universe. I thought it was really, I don't know, this kineticism against that world, that time period was very vivid and interesting and fun. And I can't think of a comparison. That felt fresh in a way that was fun.
You know what? Just give me movies that are willing to just go to all kinds of different places.
Yeah.
Emotionally, you know?
Yeah.
Did we want to talk spoilers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Spoilers.
So spoil away.
Well, let's go right to the ending. I immediately thought, oh, this movie's kind of like Whiplash, but with a more hopeful ending.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have made that connection, but it's a good connection.
Right? Where it's like, well, let's back up a little bit. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just enjoying the ride. But at the ending, I was like, oh, like, I think I understand what this is. Like, this is just a person who's desperate about their mark on the world, their legacy.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, he's constantly telling everyone how great he is.
Yeah.
You know, and he's desperate to prove it in these tournaments. And even, God, I love that showcase game that he plays, you know, and where he goes off script and he sticks to the script and he's willing to lose for a second, but like, no, like I'm never going to make it to that tournament. I'm never going to get to prove the thing that I desperately want to prove. So even if this doesn't count, even if the world never sees this and I'm not on the front page of a newspaper, I have to play on my own terms.
Yeah.
That was incredible enough. But then he's still kind of not a great guy when he gets that win. And I also thought it was really interesting to make his Japanese opponent this really interesting, sympathetic guy.
Dude, I was going to say, he's seems really nice, like the whole way.
That was a brilliant choice for this Japanese player because he doesn't speak English. It would be very easy to just make him the opponent, capital
right.
O. But instead it's like, no, this seems like a good guy. And he's got this hearing disability.
Right.
And that gives him this interesting disadvantage and advantage at the game. I'm like, well, maybe he's the hero and we're watching the wrong movie. You know, what an interesting choice. But anyway, what I love is after he achieves the thing, I couldn't help but feel happy for him. But also like, F this guy. He's been like skirting this pregnant woman, the mother of his child, the whole movie, and all the people he's hurt, the devastation in the wake that he's left. But then I didn't expect this. We get to the ending. His baby is born. And when he sees his child and he finally claims to be the father and two tears come down from his eyes, I was like, That's what this movie was about. It doesn't matter anymore about the ping pong. Like, it's just, he was determined about his legacy.
Right.
And like now his legacy is his child. And does that absolve him of everything that came before? No, not necessarily. Will he change after this moment? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did think about that. Like, as the movie ends, this thing has been one thing after another. What happens as we cut to black? What happens after that? Don't know. But I loved seeing that shift in the selfishness and the energy about him needing to like have some sort of mark or legacy or whatever in the world is now transferred into this son that he feels for the first time in the movie, we see a genuine emotional reaction from him for someone else.
That's right.
And I thought that was a beautiful ending.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they knew exactly where to cut to credits, you know? Also, on a related note, the needle drops were perfection.
Oh, yeah.
It was all 80s music from what I could tell.
Yep.
And we start the movie with Tears for Fears and we end with Tears for Fears. And we end with welcome to your life. There's no turning back. And I love because that applies to the baby and the father.
Yeah.
You know?
Brilliant.
Again, not knowing anything about it, you know, when the movie comes in and we got Tears for Fears playing, I was like, oh, I guess it's set in the 80s. And it's like 1952. I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
I was just off by a few decades.
Right.
I think that the fact that so many people are turning up for this movie, that makes me very happy because it shows that there is room for something different.
I had the same feeling being in my packed theater.
Yeah.
A little surprised and happy about it.
Yeah. I think that if Avatar is, you know, if we want to say it's slightly underperforming compared to the first one, first of all, it's doing fine, but it doesn't matter because these other movies are doing well. There's room for this stuff, you know? And so it's kind of like you build it, they'll come.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You say, oh, it's a movie. Think about it. What studio is going to be like, oh, it's a movie about Timothée Chalamet playing ping pong? Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Thank goodness A24 was willing to take the risk on it, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Other things that you wanted to mention?
Well, just something I thought was kind of interesting. I do want to just real quick. I know we're going long, but some of the set pieces I thought were interesting. But something that really stood out to me, and I have to admit, like I was reading afterwards, and this helped like solidify the whole thought that I was having. But when he was doing, well, I loved his pride, where he's like, I'm going to be the best in the world. You're going to see me on the front page. I'm going to win. I'm going to be in the Wheaties box. And they're offering him the Harlem Globetrotters halftime show. And he's like, no.
Right.
But then things don't go his way. And so then he's doing the Harlem Globetrotters thing. But I loved when he was touring and he was in Egypt and you see that group photo happening and he's hiding behind that group and he's chipping off a piece of the pyramid.
Yep.
And it's funny because I just thought it was funny. Like I was laughing at the whole conceit of it. And then when he gave it to his mom as a present, and it was just, I don't remember how he said it, forgive me, but it was something like,
he says, we built this.
We built this, exactly. Yeah. And I was like,
referring to Jewish people.
And I was like, oh, legacy means so much to this person.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, I mean, like, I just thought that was brilliant. Like something that I just took as a little bit of a gag at first.
Right.
It unlocked something about him. And that he didn't even keep it for himself. He gave it to his mom, you know, like,
yeah,
I don't know, something about that I really loved. But just, I don't know if there's moments you want to talk about. I mean, that bathtub moment, you know, that was insane. And that like encapsulates the craziness of this movie, right? Him in this bathtub, a moment where we've slowed down for 2 seconds and then the tub falls through the floor, lands on a guy and his dog.
Yep.
And sets a whole other set of things into motion and a stealth opportunity for him to make money.
Yep, that's right.
You know, like the guy is injured, his arm, and like this dog.
And keep in mind, he's in the bathtub against the explicit statement of the hotel owner who's like, don't use the bathtub.
Yes.
And he doesn't care.
But then he uses that as an opportunity, even though he did what he was told not to do. Well, you owe me money. Like just every moment, it's like, how can I get money? I need money to get to this tournament. Like I just, and then yes, the guy's dog is injured and he's like, well, I'll take it to the vet. Like, give me money to take it to the vet. And like, it's just, and then of course that leads to its own set of issues where basically the dog, well, there's that explosion and the dog runs away. And so he and his, baby mama like go to the Penn Jillette's house, and like that was a crazy whole side adventure. And when the gangster guy shows up there, like it was just, and then the what was her name? I'm looking on IMDb now. Rachel. Is I don't know what to call her because it's not his girlfriend, but like where then she tries to scam the guy.
That's right.
Also, and then that leads to chaos and violence and innocent people being hurt. I mean, that's the Safdie way, I suppose. But like it's keeps you on your toes, right? Yeah. And it keeps you off balance, and it's difficult to watch, but endlessly riveting to watch.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's pretty much sums up my thoughts. It's hard to watch, but you can't look away.
Yeah, and it's. And I loved, sort of like one battle, even though they're different, kind of gave me a similar feeling where I felt like
similar. Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like I felt like I entered another world.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100% agree. Yeah. Yeah. And I had no idea where it was going. It was populated with these really interesting characters. And then when I walked out, I felt back, even though I'd watched a movie that took place on planet Earth, I felt like I was actually returning to planet Earth when the movie was done. And that was exhilarating. Well, I think that's a good place to leave this discussion. What do you think?
Cool. Yeah. I'm sorry. I feel like I talked a lot. I mean, if there's anything else or moments that stood out to you, I want to hear them.
Needed more giant snakes.
Perfect.
It's the missing ingredient. Hey, let us know your thoughts on Marty Supreme or Anaconda or anything else that we talked about this episode. You can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. If you're listening to this show on YouTube, please hit subscribe and hit like. That stuff actually really does help. And if you leave comments there, we will of course read them on the show. Hey, we also have a Patreon page, Brian.
Yes, we do. And right at the top of this, I'll say, like this episode's already almost 2.5 hours, and we've got more to say. We've got trailers we want to talk about. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, all the Avengers Doomsday trailers that have recently dropped, and a couple topics. And we are going to have that conversation, and we'll be dropping it exclusively over at the Patreon, where in 2026, we will be dropping more exclusive content for subscribers to enjoy. It's only $5 a month, and along with that bonus content, you will also find every commentary we've ever done, every episode moving forward, absolutely ad-free. Our free feed will always be available, but this is our way of providing what we believe is the most satisfying way to enjoy the show and extra exclusive conversations. Plus, a subscription will go a long way in helping to support us and helping to sustain producing this show. So if you're interested in extra conversations and an ad-free experience of the regular show and commentaries, please head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and subscribe. We'd be very grateful.
And there we go. And hey, if you're looking for me online, you can find me on social media at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's my, pretty much wherever you look on social media, you'll find me there. You can also read my reviews at the San Francisco Chronicle and also at IGN and The Wrap. What about you, Brian?
You can find episodes I've written of Puppy Dog Pals and Young Jedi Adventures streaming over on Disney+. And I don't think I mentioned it, but another batch, the final batch of Young Jedi episodes dropped not long ago. So for people who have maybe seen all the episodes and didn't realize there was more coming, that is over there waiting for you to enjoy.
Well, with that, on behalf of my partner Brian Hall, my name is Zachy Hassan. This has been Movie Film 333. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us, making 2025 a good year, even if it's been a bad year. And, Happy New Year to everybody. We hope you'll stick around in whatever is coming up next, in the next 12 months and beyond.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast.